Hello guys, welcome to all of you in Code T Point. My name is Amit, and today once again we are going to continue with Python learning series. First of all, I would like to say guys, wish you all a very happy new year and hope this year you will continue with the new learning scopes of the Python and data science. So let's continue with our learning series. In this tutorial, we are going to cover string and its operations. So in the previous class, we have already covered some portion of these operations in the form of slicing and indexing. But in today's class, we will cover a detailed operations about strings and we will see how we can perform those things. So the first question is, what is string? So we can say that string is a sequence of the character and it can represent into the single quote, double quotes, or sometimes into the triple quotes as well as. So what is meaning of the sequence of the character? It means that is the characters are placed into the particular orders. And those orders we say in the form of indexing, right? So first of all, we will see that how we can create string, how we can edit the string, and if we try to edit the strings, what are the things we will apply. Apart from that, we will also cover how we can access the strings and how we can delete the strings. So in today's agenda, we will cover point number 1, point number 2, 3, 4, and 5. In point number 6, we will cover in part 2, and point number 7, we will cover in part 3. So because these two topics are very extensive topic, so we will cover in a separate topics or separate videos. So today's agenda from point number 1 to point number 5, we will going to cover today. So let's go into Jupyter Notebook and start how we can create the string. So as the definition is saying, string is a sequence of the characters. So let's say I'm just creating a word. So let's say I'm creating a word. Let's say any word I'm creating. A equal to, I'm creating Python. Correct? So let's say this is my word and this is a string. So we can create a word, we can create a string either by using single character or, we can create a string by using single quotes or by using double quotes. So this time I have creating by using double quotes. We can also create by using single quote, right? So both are acceptable. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to print A and B both. Print A and print B. Both I'm going to print. And let's see what should be the output. So in the both the conditions, we are getting output as a Python. So string can be represented either into the single quote or double quote. Sometimes we can also create string by using triple quote. So for example, again, I'm going to create a triple quote. So let's say New Delhi or New Delhi. Okay. And by using triple quote, we can also create the string. Normally, this is a practice where we can use a larger line of inputs, or we can say larger string inputs. So by using triple quotes, whenever we have a very large input size is in the form of string, that time we use the triple quote because our input size can be into the multiple lines. To represent those multiple lines, we can use triple quote so that, whenever we supply this multiple line of the input to the Python, Python can able to read the entire lines, right? So we will see in the example. So let's say this time what I'm going to do is A, I'm going to print A. So we are getting the output New Delhi. So let's say I'm writing New Delhi is the capital of India and it is a political capital of India as well. Correct? So this time my input is in a form of multiple lines. So I have a two lines and let's see if I'm going to print A. So what my Python is going to understand it. So this time my entire input is getting read by Python, right? So either you can use similar inputs in this form. So in this form, correct? And this is also acceptable, guys. So again, I'm going to write print A and you can say, again, we can able to read this multiple line of inputs, right? So what happens if we are going to write this form? What happens if we are going to write these things? So in this kind of input, we have a single quote inside the string. And if I'm going to print this string, or let's say what Python will understand by this input. In this case, if you are going to write by single quote of this string, this time Python will be get confused that where my string is getting terminated, because in this case we have a 3 single quote. So the termination should be so let's say if I'm going to print A this time, so what my error is, it is saying unterminated string literals, right? So it is pointing out in this line, right? It is pointing out in this line because it is not able to find the termination of literals, or you can say termination string. So here the Python is getting confused. This portion is a string or this portion is string, correct? Right? And that is why it is sending us error, or it is throwing us an error, that is where is terminated string, right? So to solve these problems, what we can do is we can replace this outer single quote with the double quote, and in this case my string will be get read out, right? Similarly, we can do the vice versa. So let's say again what I'm going to do is, if the inside the string, if you are going to use the double quote, then outer the line or outer the quote should be into the single, so that so that your Python input should able to identify clearly which is string and where the string is getting terminated, right? So this is about this is about how we can start the string. Similarly, if I'm going to write, let's say this time I'm going to write hello, and this we are going to write world. In both the cases, A and B are two separate strings, right? So if I'm going to print A and print B, we will get hello and the world, right? So we can say that is, in this example, we have two strings and both are separate strings. So either you can start with single quote or the double quotes. So it's your choice. So let's go to point number 2, like accessing the string. Now the question is how we can access the strings. To access the strings, there is a concept of indexing come into the place. So let's say my string is this time hello. Let's say my string is hello, and to access the string, it should be accessing the character, right? I think this mistake, so let me correct it. In this case, what I'm going to do is accessing the character. To access the character, we can use the concept of indexing. In previous class, of course, we have discussed in the indexing, but again, I would like to repeat it for this tutorial. So let me go to the Jupyter notebook. Okay. Sorry. Let me go to the OneNote. In this part, I'm going to use, let's say, a equal to hello. Correct? And this is my string. Indexing is a concept where we can able to access the elements of the data, or you can say data types. So let's say I would like to access the H or O or maybe E. For that, what we are going to do is we can write the name of the variable, which is A. And after that, what we are going to do is we can start with square bracket. And inside the square bracket, we will put the number. And number is nothing but indexing number. So whenever we have to read from left to right, it is called positive indexing. And whenever we have to read from right to left, so it is called negative indexing. Correct? So in this case, it is negative indexing, right? So positive number or positive indexing start with 0 and it is moved towards the positive side. So that means 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And negative indexing start with -1 and it is going to travel -1, -2, -3 and so on, right? So you can say that is positive indexing is moved to this side and negative indexing is moved to this side. Correct? So this is positive indexing and this is negative indexing. So to access the H, we can say that is we need to place inside this square bracket O, right? And we will get the H. To get the value of E, we need to put 1 inside the square bracket and we will get the value of E. Correct? Right? So this is about indexing. So let's go and do it. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just putting A and bracket O. So what we will get H. For A bracket, inside the bracket, I'm putting 1. What we will get? We'll get E. For L, we will put 2. For second N, we will put 3. And for O, we will put 4. So you can say that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the indexing value for H, E, L, L, O. Correct? Let's say in this case, we would like to use negative indexing concept. So what I'm going to do is, I would like to use negative indexing concept. And for that, let's say I would like to access the last element of this string. So what I'm going to write? -1. And in this case, if I execute it, we will get the last element, which is O. Correct? For example, in this case, if I'm using, instead of -1, let's say I'm using -2. So what we will get? We will get L, right? Similarly for A, and inside the bracket we will, let's say, -4. What we will get? We will get E, correct? So because it is going to start with -1, first L is -2, second L is -3, and E is -4, and that is why we are getting the value E, correct? So this is about indexing. There is one more concept which is called slicing. So we can say that is, let's say if you want to access the portion of the characters, or let's say combination of the characters, or portion of the, you can say, string, or combination of the characters, in that case we will use the concept of slicing. So let's go to OneNote again. In this case, I'm just taking another example. Let's say my string is, let's say, welcome. In this case, I would like to access the first three characters, WEL. Since by using indexing we can get a single element, so by using slicing we can get the multiple element. So what the syntax of this slicing is, it is 0 and this is 2. Sorry, 0, 1, 2. Yes. So if we want to get 0 to 2, so we can write 0 colon 0 colon and then the value of last element. Value of means indexing value of last element. So this is 2. But what happens, that is, in the slicing, the indexing, the slicing, syntax is start, stop. But in this case, if we are going to write 2, so 0 colon 2. So the value is, you can say, in this case, what we have what instruction we are given, 0 colon 2. That means we want to the values WEL. But what happens in this case, it is not going to touch the last element. That means it is not going to include the last element, which is stop value. To access the last element, we need to edit one more element. So 2 plus 1. So we can write A bracket 0 colon 3, and in this case we will get WEL. Correct? So I'm repeating, the syntax for slicing is start colon stop, but in stop is not included. To include that particular element in stop, we have to add it by one further elements. So you can say, let's say, the fifth element 0 colon 5. So the fifth element is not going to add, not going to include. To include the fifth element, we can do it 5 plus 1, which is 0 colon 6, right? Similarly for, let's say, we have to include come. In this case, we can write A, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5 and 6. So let's say for this portion 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can start 3 colon, and to get the last element we can say 6 plus 1, which is nothing but 7. So it is A 3 colon 7, and we will get this element come, right? So this is about the slicing. So let's go and do it in Jupyter Notebook. So what I am going to write, A equal to welcome, right? Since we are going to use, so here it is like, indexing. I'm just writing, giving the indexing concept, and here we are going to use slicing. So guys, we have already covered these videos. Okay, so you can refer in the indexing and slicing video, which is already separated video. So you can refer those video as well as. In slicing, what I'm going to do is, let's say a colon 0, a inside the bracket, a bigger bracket 0 colon 3, and if I'm going to execute it, what we are getting, WEL. Again a 3 colon 7, what we will get, come, right? So this is about slicing, right? So let's go for third part, adding character to string and adding and editing string. So 3 and 4, let's go. We are going to touch adding character to string. So as per string definition, it is a immutable data types. So that means we cannot make changes in the string. It is a immutable data type. So we cannot make any changes in the string, but we are going to try adding character to string, and let's see what is the result. So what we are going to do is, this time I'm going to take a, let's say I'm going to take a string, and this string is, let's say, Mumbai. And inside the Mumbai, I'm going to add one more character, let's say Mumbai. Let's say in this string, I'm going to add a word called Mahanagar, or you can say Mumbai city. Correct? So what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to adding character to a string. Okay. So first I will try to add one character. So let's say in this string, I'm going to add one more character, let's say X. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, a, like, in the 0th element, or you can say inside the last element, I'm going to add, instead of I, I'm going to add X, right? And I will see that instead of Mumbai, it will be MUMBAX. And let's see if we can able to perform this operation or not. So what we are going to do is, so what happening? We are getting an error. String object does not support item assignment. It means that is, we cannot add any character to string. Let's say if you want to test it out, so what we can do is, simply what you can do is, just put name of the variable a dot press tab, and you will see all the functions of this string. And by looking into any function of this string, by looking those functions, let's say, can you see those functions like add, append? So those function is not there inside, like, and by looking into those functions, add, appends, okay, these functions are not inside this string. So by looking into those functionality, we can also say that this string or your string is a immutable object, because inside this string or in a string function, append, add, delete, this kind of the operations or the function is not there. Correct? Similarly, what we are going to do is, we are going to add one more word. Instead of character, we are going to add a word. So let's say this time we are going to add -1, and instead of X, we are going to add city. So what will be the result? Again, we will get an error. That is, we will get an error. Okay, that string object does not support item assignment, right? So we cannot add a character or the word inside the string. So that means editing is not possible in the string. So we cannot edit string, right? So that means in this case, the third point, adding character to a string, has been clarified. So that means we cannot add any characters or the word inside the string. So it means that addition of the string is not fulfilled. Addition of a string is cannot be possible. So fifth topic is deleting string. So let's go to this part. In this case, let's say I'm going to use Mumbai. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, if I want to add, let's say if I want to delete, right? So a dot, let's say correct. And if I'm going to print a, so what we'll get? We can say a is not defined because this time a is not there because we have deleted a, right? So you can say that is, since we have deleted a, which is a Mumbai, and in that case, if you're trying to print a, it is saying a is not defined, right? So deletion is possible in string, but addition is, or you can say editing is not possible in the string. So you can do some more practice over the string, and you can also do some more practice over indexing and slicing. So hope you have enjoyed this session, guys. So guys, we have a paid training as well as for data science, machine learning and Python. Apart from that, we have also providing training for visualizations tool, Power BI and Tableaus. So if you'd like to go for any training, please fill up the form given below in Google Sheet and our team will be contact you. So thank you guys. Thank you once again.